So, as a mother, talking with my kids about their dad's death has been one of my greatest challenges as a parent, and helping them navigate their journey through grief has been one of my greatest challenges, but also probably one of my greatest joys. I felt very early on, I mean, half an hour after I found out my husband had passed away, I had to tell my kids. And I instinctively felt that I had to tell them the truth, and I had to tell them about the overdose. I didn't want to, I didn't yet have the professional guidance from my grief counselor to know that it was really important to be truthful and open and honest. I just instinctively felt like I had to share it with my kids. So I chose, kid-friendly language and age-appropriate ways to describe what had happened, but I did not shy away from it. And that's really paid off. 5 years later, my kids can speak with empathy about someone who struggles with substance use disorder, and they can talk about their dad's death, and they'll tell you that he died because his brain told him to take drugs, and his brain told him to take too many, and they caused his body to stop working. So I think my first lesson very early on was to be open and transparent and provide a place where my kids knew that they could ask me anything and that they could talk about anything and any feeling that they had about their dad's death. And that's been really hard. It's been really hard to answer their questions without bursting into tears myself, and without having it trigger some of my feelings about his addiction. But they need to know, and they need to be a part of the process. I also included them in the funeral, and in the visitation. They've been a part of everything. I mean, it was their father. I didn't want to hide it from them. In the years since, I have secured grief counseling for both of them, both individual therapy, and they have done group therapy, and we do family events with a children's grief center in Toronto. And I think it's important. I mean, for all of us, for myself, I found so much community in other widows who have gone through a similar journey, and it's the same for our kids. I want them, with my widow friends who have kids. Our kids all are friends now, and they've formed a Dead Dads Club, which to someone else that might sound like a horrible thing to call it, but it is. It's true. It's what it is. They're 4 little kids who all have dead dads, and they talk about how their dads might be doing stuff together. And I just think it's important for them to find their own people that are other kids that are going through the same thing as them. Something else that is challenging with supporting my grieving kids is that their grief changes with every time their brain changes. A new developmental stage in their brain brings on a new understanding of what happened to their dad, new questions. So that's hard for me because it causes me to re-grieve every time I realize, like, oh yeah, now, my 7-year-old recently said, "Mommy, you know what? I really wish I knew what it was like to have a dad," which really hurt me because she does have a dad. But it also dawned on me that now she's 7, so she's not remembering when she was 2. So that open and honest conversation we had allowed me to understand, okay, yeah, now I gotta really amp up my storytelling and my memory sharing with her so that she can have a full picture of him in her head as we continue on. But kids are curious, kids want to understand, and they want to be part of the grief journey. So I think in any possible situation, bringing them along and being honest with your own feelings. We have lots of family hugs and cries. When Mommy's crying, someone will come and give me a hug, and if one of them are crying, I'll go and give them a hug. So we take care of each other, and it's painful, but it's also really beautiful.